Hey, BJ, very basic Bible. Let's read. Got up Psalm 6. Okay, we'll do it in the NET. Sure, why not? Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger. Do not discipline me in your raging fury. Have mercy on me, Lord, for I am frail. Heal me, Lord, for my bones are shaking. I am absolutely terrified. And you, Lord, how long will this continue? Relent, Lord, rescue me. Deliver me because of your fullness, for no one remembers you in the realm of death. In Sheol, who gives you thanks? I'm exhausted as I groan. All night long, I drench my bed in tears. My tears saturate the cushion beneath me. My eyes grow dim from suffering. They grow weak because of all my enemies. Turn back from me, all you who behave wickedly, for the Lord has heard the sound of my weeping. The Lord has heard my appeal for mercy. The Lord has accepted my prayer. May all my enemies be humiliated and absolutely terrified. May they turn back and be suddenly humiliated. Yeah, pretty cool. Bones. Them bones, them got the bones of him. There's the bones right there, bones. My bones are shuddering. My bones are not bones. Let's go look up where was I at in the Net Bible? Let's go to the Net. N-E-N-E-T, New English Translation. BONES, enter 72. Only three in the New Testament. I don't know. Let's look it up. Let's just look at the three in the New Testament. Let's see. Woe to you, experts in the law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites. You look like you are like whitewashed tombs that look beautiful on the outside, but inside are full of the bones of the dead and of everything unclean. Whitewashed tombs on the outside, right? They look pretty. They've been washed, whitewash. You make them, you put white stuff on them. I think you make them look bratty. You make them look pretty, right? But what's on the inside? Full of the bones of the dead and of everything unclean. In fact, 23, 27. There's 27. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Okay. 27. Here's 25. Woe to you, experts in the law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites. So Jesus is talking. This is Jesus, just by the way. You clean the outside of the cup and the dish, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. Mm-hmm. Right? Right here. Woe to you, experts of the law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites. You are like whitewashed tombs. You clean the outside of the cup and dish. You are like whitewashed tombs that look beautiful on the outside, but inside are full of bones of the dead and of everything unclean. Verse 25, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. Yeah. You look nice on the outside, bad on the inside. Bones of the dead and of everything unclean. Dead things, if you touch it, you're unclean. So why does he mention bones specifically? I'm not sure. I think if something is bones, you know for a fact it's dead. Still got skin on it. Oh my, he might wake up. Who knows? But I mean, primitive science kind of thing. Bones, dead. I'm not saying they were so stupid as to think if they found an arm with skin on it unattached from the body, oh, the arm might be alive. No, no, no. Um, they're not that dumb. Okay, let's look at the next one in the New Testament. I think it's the same actually. Oh no, I was wrong. Look at my hands and my feet. It's me. Touch me and see. A ghost does not have flesh and bones like you see I have. A ghost does not touch me. Look at my hands and feet. It's me. Touch me and see. So he wants him to touch him. And then he says a ghost doesn't have. We think of you can't touch a ghost, right? Right. But you can touch this. I look, whoever this is, it's Jesus, okay? After the resurrection, the disciples are like, oh, full chapter. Let's see. The resurrection. Uh-huh. Now, the first day of the week, early dawn, the women went to the tomb. See, the women went to the tomb. They found that the stone had been rolled away. Okay, right here. The women were frightened and bowed their faces to the ground, but the men said, "Oh," while they were perplexed, suddenly two men stood beside them in dazzling attire. What did the men say? The men standing in this empty tomb that they went to in dazzling attire. Jesus was buried there. Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here, but he has been raised. Okay, he's been raised. Are people going to believe it? Well, if you look at Jesus walks the road to Emmaus. Okay, right here. While they were talking and debating these things, Jesus himself approached and began to accompany them. Verse 16, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him. So this is another time. So the women were in the first few verses. Now we've got some men walking. Now that very day, two of them were on their way to a village called Emmaus. Okay, they were talking to each other about all the things that had happened, about Jesus' death, right? They're talking to each other, about it. Jesus appears. Verse 16, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him. They don't recognize him. And what do they say? Verse 20, how our chief priests and leaders handed him over to be condemned to death and crucified him. We had hoped that he was one day going to redeem Israel. Okay, 22. Furthermore, some women of our group amazed us. They were at the tomb early this morning, and when they did not find his body, they came back and said that they had seen a vision of angels. Okay. I mean, they're like, this is weird, you know? Okay. Oh, to verse 34. The Lord really has risen and has appeared to Simon. Oh, okay. Yeah. Pretty cool. All right. Here's our verse. While they were saying these things, Jesus stood among them and said to them, peace be with you. So this is after the guys from Emmaus. They ran back to Jerusalem. They're sitting there talking. Peace be with you, says Jesus. But they were startled and terrified, thinking they saw a ghost. So the women, they don't see Jesus. They see an empty tomb and dazzling men in white. Dudes walking on the road, they see Jesus. They don't know it's him. They run back and tell the 11, and suddenly Jesus was there. They're seeing Jesus, and they were startled and terrified. Why are you frightened? And why do doubts arise in your hearts? Look at my hands and my feet. It's me. Touch me and see. A ghost does not have flesh and bones like you see I have. Pretty cool. And watch this. And while they still could not believe it because of their joy, and they were amazed, he said to them, do you have anything here to eat? So they gave him a piece of broiled fish, and he took it and ate it in front of them. He's like, look, guys, I am really alive. A ghost does not have flesh and bones. Could they see his bones? Probably not. Maybe the crucifixion marks, like in his arms, where they, maybe he could be like, look, it's a bone. I swear, I'm not a ghost. No, that's probably not what happened. Flesh and bones probably just means that you touch me, you could feel my skin, but you can feel it solid in there. What's inside of there? Bones. They're ancient people see decay everywhere. We never see it. Where our everything's tidy. They take care of ugly stuff. Policemen, EMS people, rescue crews, they come and they clean up messes for us. When we go to we don't see dead people just lying around everywhere, right? Ancient times, yeah, dead animals, dead people. Yeah, I mean, they saw flesh and bones that was dead. But here, not only are they like, oh no, he was dead, they're like, he's a ghost. And Jesus is like, a ghost does not have flesh and bones. He's like, I'm alive because I'm talking to you. That's one. Two, I'm not a ghost. I got bones and bones. Yeah. My cat's looking at me like a crazy. It's like, you keep mentioning bones. Okay. Last one in the New Testament. Acts. Their bones were later moved to Shechem and placed in the tomb that Abraham had bought for a certain sum of money from the sons of Hamor in Shechem. Yeah. So this is during the Acts 7:16, during the speech of Stephen, Stephen. That's whenever you get married to another hen, that's your step hen. Um, I'm a funny guy. Okay. The bones were later moved. So after they go to Egypt with Jacob and Joseph, and 12, all of his sons, they go and they live in Egypt. Eventually, they move out of Egypt. They take the bones of of the important dead people, maybe all of them, probably just important people. They move them to this tomb that Abraham had bought, right? Back to the promised land. Abraham goes to the promised land. Jacob and Joseph, they move down to Egypt. When they move back to the promised land, hey, there's still a tomb that would belong to Abraham. Let's bring the bones. What chapter? They're dead relatives. What do we do when we move somewhere? We leave our relatives in the cemetery, but they're, Control Fbone. Right here. Okay, I'm just going to start reading to verse 8. Then God gave Abraham the covenant of circumcision. So he became the father of Isaac and circumcised him when he was 8 days old. And Isaac became the father of Jacob, and Jacob of the 12 patriarchs. The patriarchs, because they were jealous of Joseph, sold him into Egypt. But God was with him, Joseph, and rescued him from all his troubles, and granted Joseph favor and wisdom in the presence of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, who made Joseph ruler over Egypt and over all his household. Then a famine occurred throughout Egypt and Canaan, causing great suffering, and our ancestors could not find food. Our ancestors. Stephen, a Jew, is talking to the Pharisees, Jews. Stephen saying, our ancestors, remember? Joseph, Jacob, Jacob and our ancestors, they couldn't find food. So when Jacob heard that there was grain in Egypt, he sent our ancestors there the first time. On their second visit, Joseph made himself known to his brothers again, and Joseph's family became known to the Pharaoh. So Joseph sent a message and invited his father Jacob and all his relatives to come, 75 people in all. So Jacob went down to Egypt and died there, along with our ancestors and their bones, Jacob and the ancestors, were later moved to Shechem, which is back in the promised land, right? Moved to Shechem and placed in a tomb that Abraham had bought for a certain sum of money from the sons of Hamor and Shechem. Okay. You take the bones and you move them back to the home place. Why? I don't care where I'm buried. Doesn't bother me. I don't know. Jews were very physical people. They're going to raise, whenever they think of being risen from the dead, they think their body, like their actual bone. What happened? What did Jesus say? Flesh and I have flesh and bones. I'm not a ghost. So hey, if someday you're going to be raised from the dead, you need to take your bones back. In Genesis, I'm not sure if Jacob and Joseph had a full-fledged doctrine of this resurrection thing, but they did think, hey, this is still his body. We should give it a proper burial. So they take the body back, and bury it. Like I say, today most people wouldn't really mind. Actually, I heard about a thing: Native Americans. Okay, the government is going to come and put a road through a forest, right through an Indian burial ground. That's nice, right through a Native American burial ground. That sucks. Like, what if you got a cemetery with your family and they're like, hey, we got to put a road here? Okay, what they do is they agreed with the Indians. We will dig up the land, keep it intact, specifically the bodies, and move it elsewhere and rebury it. So we're not just gonna like plow through just bulldoze everything and just destroy the land there, because but we're going to remove the land and the bodies and the tombs and all that. Now, some of the bodies and tombs probably decayed, but they're important part of the land. The government said, we want to put a road here. Native Americans said, no, this is our sacred ground. Government said, this is somewhere in California. The government said, don't worry, we will remove it and relocate it. The Indians said, that's not the point. Come on. We were buried here. Joseph, down in Egypt, he dies. Other people die. Where should they be buried? In Egypt? No, not in Egypt. The promised land, right? Shechem is in the promised land. That's where they should be buried. So bones. No bones about it. There's a metaphor. There doesn't seem like many metaphors in the Bible here, at least in the New Testament on bones. So they're all like just bones, like the white hard things that hold our skin up. Real fast. Let's go to another translation, NIV, and we'll just look in the New Testament. 4. Oh, yeah. Matthew, Luke, John. There's no Acts. Let's see what John is. Not one of his bones will be broken. Okay. That Bible verse is disputed. So it's not in every Bible translation. But if you look, not one of his bones will be broken. It's not a metaphor. If you go back to that psalm, they're talking about actual bones. So, but then we had, what was it? Hebrews. Let's see. By faith. Oh, look at this. By faith, Joseph, when his end was near, spoke about Joseph. He spoke about the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt and gave instructions concerning the burial of his bones. Kind of cool, kind of matches, huh? We talked about the Stephen when he was talking in Acts, right? Which isn't here. Go to another Bible verse. Go to an older one. New King James. Where is it at? You would think this would be easy to find. There we go. Enter. Last one. All right. 6. Matthew, Luke, John. Let's just look real quick. Matthew. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. Okay, dead man's bones. Right? That's what's in a tomb, or bones. The skin eventually rots away, but the bones stay a while. A spirit does not have flesh and bones instead of a ghost. John. Not one of his bones shall be broken. Okay. Acts, I bet it's 7. Oh, he took him by the right hand and lifted him up, and immediately his feet and ankle bones received strength. Watch this. Peter said, Peter the apostle, silver and gold I do not have, but what I do have I give you. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk. And he took him by the right hand and lifted him up, and immediately his feet and ankle bones. So he leaping. If you read the full chapter, verse 2, and a certain man lame from his mother's womb was carried, who they lay daily at the gate of the temple, which is called Beautiful, to ask for alms for those who enter the temple. Okay, a certain man lame from his mother's womb. Well, then Peter's like, hey, stand up and walk. Rise up, and he took him by the right hand, lifts up, and immediately the lame man, his feet and ankle bones received strength. His bones. His actual bones, his bones receive strength? More like his muscles, right? Well, I guess I know you can have brittle bones too. Yeah. Okay. Ephesians. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. There is a metaphor. We are the body of Christ. Right? The hand cannot say to the eye, I don't need you. The hand. The feet cannot say to the hands, we don't need you. Every part of the body. This is in 1 Corinthians 12. right? So here in Ephesians, Paul talking about the body of Christ. We are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. Yeah. Hebrews. Oh, there we go. Gave instructions concerning his bones. Okay. Well, that was kind of fun, I guess. I guess I'll just title this one Bones in various New Testament and Bones in the New Testament. That's what we'll title this. We'll see y'all on the next very basic Bible. Okay. Bye, guys.